Hi, my name's Bev and I'm the originator of fly wraps. It's been around for some time now. And for those of you that are not aware of fly wraps, it's just like your fly mask, only for the lower legs of the horse where the biggest concentration of flies are. And we package them like this in a set of 4, because our horses have 4 legs. And these are to be worn the 22 hours a day that they're standing in pasture or in their stalls at rest. It's not a support bandage, but it really does double as a great medical bandage as well. If your horses get scratches, or a lot of our vets use them to when they've healed a wound, and it allows the air to get to it. But I just want to do a demonstration today to show you exactly how the fly wrap is applied. So this is Capato. It's a beautiful, beautiful horse, and he's already got 3 of my fly wraps on. So let me show you this 4th one. They're marked left and right, by the way, because you always want the straps going to the back of your horse. And so you'll notice that there's a double binding at the bottom, and we've got the shearling at the top to prevent the bugs from getting down from the top, but we left the shearling off the bottom into double binding so that it doesn't pick up all the dirt from the fields and in the pastures and so on and so forth. Our straps are stretch straps so that when your horse moves, it gives. And also we have custom stays, vertical stays in them, so that in the heat of the summer, they don't wrinkle up and shrink like a bad sock. But this really stops your horse from stomping and stamping. And I can't tell you how many letters I get from people with older horses that they say, my horse lived another 2 years because of your fly wraps, because the impact and the compacting of them pounding their legs to shake off the flies really impacts their bones. And this allows them to be at rest and be comfortable. It's kind of like when you and I are in a bathing suit on a lake full of mosquitoes, but when we have a shirt on, we're not affected by the mosquitoes. Well, these fly wraps keep the pests off the lower end of your horse. And when you think about it, nature gave a horse a tail that swishes the insects and pests off its body, a mane that looks after the neck, a forelock that looks after their face. But even if your horse has a long tail, it cannot reach the front legs. And this brings tremendous comfort to your horses. So these are fly wraps. They come in a set of 4. I just wanted to show you what they're about and how they're available for you. I hope this helped you, and have a great fly-free, fly-control summer. Thanks for watching.